Also, make sure to watch all the way to the end of this video. I'm giving away $1,000 in total to viewers of our audience here in the What's in the Box contest. If you can guess what's in that box, you could win cash directly from me. I'm going to give you a clue to what's in that box at the end of this video. So make sure to watch all the way to the end, and I'll give you a clue to what's in that box. So make sure to watch all the way to the end of this video. The United States has just announced that we have actually had more deaths in 2021 from the pandemic than last year in 2020. Remember, last year was when we actually had the lockdown, and everybody thought that this year would be better. Well, seems that things aren't better because we've actually had more people pass away this year than last year. The United States passed yet another sobering milestone in the COVID pandemic as the number of 2021 COVID deaths surpassed the 2020 total. According to the latest available data from the Johns Hopkins University, the U.S. has now reached at least 770,690 deaths over the full course of the pandemic. Yeah. Data from the CDC, the Centers for the Disease Control and Prevention, indicate that the total number of deaths involved in 2020 was 385,343. And now in 2021, we have 385,348. 15 more than in 2020. Yeah. And the number will only rise in the days and weeks to come because we still have a little bit over a month more in 2021. So we've actually had more people pass away from the pandemic, from the virus this year in 2021 than in 2020. Yeah. In June, a Wall Street Journal analysis found that the global COVID deaths in 2021 had already surpassed 2020 numbers. This is globally, not just for the US. The newspaper reported at the time that 1.883 people had died in connection with the virus at that point in 2021, surpassing the global death toll of 1.88 million in 2020. Yeah, this grim US milestone comes despite the fact that 3 vaccines have been authorized in the country, most recently for children as young as 5 years old. Also, unfortunately, we have cases now rising back up on the way with Thanksgiving and the holidays back on the way. That's right, cases are now back on the up. You can actually see here on November 19th, we had 119,000 new cases in one day. And the 7-day moving average is 95,000 new cases per day. So almost 100,000 cases per day on average, and 119,000 new cases on a daily on the 19th. And we're actually kind of on a steep incline here. You can see from this increase here from this plateau. We're it looks like we're going back on the up here. Yesterday's cases was only 41,000 because remember, the reporting is always lower on the weekends. It's just kind of the way the reporting is. I don't know if it's because of some hospitals don't report on the weekends or what. That's just kind of the way it's always been. That's why the 7-day average is kind of like the best the best kind of data that there is there. Deaths, we had, again, the weekend is kind of the same thing, 333 there yesterday. But if we go to the day before, 1,891 with the 7-day average of 1,134. So still kind of seems like we're in the thick of things. When you look at the graph there, still kind of in the thick of things. Yeah. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think this pandemic is ever going to end? Do you think it's going to be endemic? Do you think it's going to be around forever, like the flu? Yeah. Do you think stimulus might be going on forever? Do you think they're going to be trying to give flu shots to the economy and stimulus packages for a long time to keep the economy giving them flu shots as well? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. It does kind of seem like this is not, at least with the virus, it just seems like it's lingering around forever. And it just does not seem like it's going away. I mean, we still have 100,000 people on average almost every day catching it. It just doesn't seem like it's going to be going away anytime soon. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Okay, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell from the Republicans, they're dealing with their own drama here as the debt limit and a government shutdown, which are two separate issues. A lot of people get that confused. We have a government shutdown coming on December 3rd, which is, what is that, 2 weeks? Less than 2 weeks away. And we have the government debt limit, which is where the Treasury will literally run out of money. The Treasury, the U.S. Treasury, will run out of money. They initially said that would be as early as December 3rd as well. Now they're saying it could be December 15th. So there's a little bit of a window in there. They're calling it the X date or even the X date window. That is where the government would literally default. Imagine the United States government defaulting. They say if the U.S. government defaults, it could be the worst economic crisis that our country has ever had. Stock market would collapse. Social Security payments, even the President Biden said they won't go out or could not go out, might not go out. Child tax credit payments might not go out. We say might here because this has never really happened, okay? If the country defaults, who knows what will happen because it's never happened. So some of this stuff is in theory because if the country actually defaults, who knows what's going to happen? We don't want this to happen. If it actually happens, it would be literally the worst economic crisis that we've had in modern day history. Imagine defaulting, but yet you're the U.S. government. It's kind of like going into bankruptcy, but you're the government. All this because the Republicans and the Democrats can't agree just to sign a simple bill. So right now, the problem is that, okay, so the bill that was passed by the Build Back Better bill in the House apparently doesn't even have the debt limit raise in there. Doesn't even have the debt limit raise in there. I can't make this. In today's episode of You Can't Make This Stuff Up, the Democrats didn't even include the raising the debt limit in the House bill. Now, I think that they everybody kind of all thinks that the bill is going to be changed by the Senate, but there is a small chance that they wouldn't change the bill. If by that small, slim, tiny chance that the Senate didn't change the bill, that bill would be passed by the House and the Senate and then would go right to the president. Then there'd be no debt limit raised in there at all. So I guess that would kind of force their hand. They'd have to change the bill. But nonetheless, Nancy Pelosi did not put raising the debt limit in the bill, the stimulus package, the Build Back Better bill that was passed in the House. No debt limit in there at all. Not, at least from what I have seen in every article I've read. There's over 2,000 pages. If you would like to read some light midnight reading, feel free to read 2,000 some pages of legal jargon. Oh my God. If you've ever tried to read legal jargon, like stimulus package jargon, it's like the worst reading you could ever read. It's not like reading a novel, reading a fiction, a nice fiction novel by your favorite author. It's like the worst reading you've ever read. You want to fall asleep by like page 12, right? It's just like you can't even like make heads or tails of some of the stuff that they write. But yeah, so they don't even have raising the debt limit in this bill. Mitch McConnell and Chuck Schumer are now negotiating. The problem with this is about raising the debt and the government shutdown. So the government's going to shut down here in T-minus 2 weeks. Okay, government shutdown, debt limit, two different issues. They're separate. Government shutting down and the debt limit are two different issues. Okay, two separate things. Number one, on the government shutting down, we have Republicans demanding from the Senate that they include starting border wall, restarting construction on the border wall again, and including money for funding it. Now, a lot of people agree, and I'm not going to choose sides here or anything like that. A lot of people agree that they should do that again because of how bad the border crisis is on the United States and how many illegal immigrants, record number, are coming. And that's not an opinion or anything. That's actually a fact. How many illegal immigrants are coming over the border? Okay. The problem with this is that you have the whole Trump versus Biden thing, and Biden and Trump, they always try to do the exact opposite of each other, right? Biden doesn't want to do anything that Trump did. Trump doesn't want to do anything that Biden did. So Biden really doesn't want to do anything having to do with the border wall. So I doubt that the Biden administration is going to, or the Democrats are going to go with that. So if we get enough Republicans that go with that, we could see a government shutdown. That would put over 2 million people out of work, and a government shutdown, that's not a good thing for the country either. Okay, that means all government branches would shut down except for essential services. And then that could even lead to a debt limit default. Remember, a default is literally like 100 times worse than a government shutdown. We've had government shutdowns before. I think the two most recent are 2018, 2019. A debt limit, a default. Think about the country defaulting. Just think about U.S. government default, the United States default. It's 100 times worse. Social Security payments might not go out. Child tax credit payments might not go out. Payments to creditors and bond interest payments might not or will not go out. Okay? U.S. credit rating tanks. Stock market tanks. And a lot of people say, good, we hate the stock, we hate the rich people. But over 50% of the average everyday Americans have money in the stock market. What do they own stocks directly? 401ks, people's retirement accounts, and pensions. The vast majority of that money is in the stock market. Okay. The average everyday person, over 50% of the average everyday Americans have money in the stock market now. Okay. And a lot of people's jobs are tied directly to the stock market now because their company is tied to the stock markets. Okay. If the stock market tanks, companies go out of business. If companies go out of business, what's the first thing they do? Or even if they don't go out of business, even if they just suffer a huge financial loss, what's the first thing they do? They start laying off people. This is like I said, this is not something we want to happen. It's not something like, yeah, go get the rich. Those rich people need to suffer. The entire economy, it would be a terrible thing. I believe Janet Yellen, Treasury Secretary, said that this could cost the U.S. economy $15 trillion. That's like half of our national debt that we've accumulated ever. All because the Democrats and Republicans can't agree to just sign a piece of paper and come to a vote. And honestly, I think that it's a very good likelihood that one of these times they're going to mess around and not pass this bill. And the problem is then you have 60-some million Americans on Social Security that are not going to get paid, as if that's not bad enough. I mean, how many people on Social Security literally live and breathe waiting for their checks? 60-some million other Americans waiting for their child tax credit payments every single month. About 50% of them use that money just for food. And probably 50% of Americans on Social Security is using that money for food, right? I mean, that's 130 million Americans that just literally need this money just to survive, just to pay for their food and shelter, right? I mean, we're talking about senior citizens and children. Senior citizens and children are literally living and breathing and dying, hoping for Mitch McConnell and Chuck Schumer and the Democrats and the Republicans to just vote on a bill, and they can't agree on it. This is what it's come down to with our Senate. And the problem is that even if Mitch McConnell and Chuck Schumer agree on this, I don't know if they're going to get 10 Republicans. The Democrats will all vote for it. All 50 Democrats will vote for it. But remember, last time around, they got 11 Republicans. I don't know if they're going to get 10 Republicans this time around. So even if Mitch McConnell votes for it, I think Mitch McConnell will vote for it, honestly, truly, because he's a reasonable man when it comes to this issue. He voted for it last time. I think he'll vote for it. He realizes the country can't default. and I'm not picking sides or anything. I'm just looking at it from a realistic point of view. I think Mitch McConnell will vote for it. He voted for it last time. I don't know if they're going to get 10 Republicans to vote for it. Last time they only got 11, and then Chuck Schumer slammed them, and he just turned off so many Republicans. I just don't know if they're going to get it. Speaking of Chuck Schumer, here's Chuck Schumer speaking today about the stimulus package. Check this out.
Now, as everybody knows, on Friday, the House passed the BBB bill. It is a comprehensive piece of legislation that does so many good things for American families. And each part of it, if you look at each part, it's supported by Americans and New Yorkers. This is big, bold, and much needed change. When the government does big things, it's not easy. It takes a lot of work and a lot of negotiation, and it's made all the harder because our Republican friends are intransigent against this bill. They're totally opposed to the BBB bill, even though the majority of Americans and the majority of New Yorkers support just about every provision in there. So why are we here today? There are so many provisions in this bill, but I want to focus on one. It's a life-saving, life and death issue. It is insulin. Tens of millions of Americans depend on insulin. Diabetes is the second most prevalent disease in America and the third most prevalent cause of death. So diabetes is essential. Insulin is essential for those with diabetes. I know my father-in-law passed away of diabetes. He was a cab driver and he died of diabetes. But we are here today to tell the GOP to lay off, to not attempt to kill this provision. What does the provision in the bill do? It reduces the cost of insulin from $300 to $600, or let me put it away. What does this bill do? It reduces the cost from as high as $600 an injection to $35. That's what it used to be. 10 years ago, insulin was cheap and easy and accessible. But all of a sudden, it's gone up 12, 15, 17% a year, so now it's as high as $600. And this is not a drug on patent. This is not one of those things that's protected by patent. So there's no reason the cost should be so high. So today I'm announcing that as Majority Leader, I will do everything I can to keep this provision in the BBB bill and get the cost of insulin down to $35 an injection. We are asking our Republican friends, well, I shouldn't say friends, we are asking our Republican colleagues to stand down, to back this provision once and for all, and not go after it as we move forward on the BBB bill. Millions of Americans with diabetes stand with Democrats and with me on this one. So does the American Diabetes Association. So does the Endocrine Society. Every single day, millions of Americans are either paying more for diabetes or not getting the injections they need. In Build Back Better, we have the chance and the momentum to once and for all push down this price. Everywhere you go, people ask you, how the heck did the price after the patent expired go up from $35 to $600? And no one has a very good answer. No one has a very good answer, but we know we can get it right back down. So to those in the GOP who want to say kill this provision, I say stand down, stand with the American people, many of whom are your own constituents battling diabetes and tremendous cost. And let me give you some more background. The price of insulin has risen rapidly for years. It's gone up about 15 to 17% every year since 2012. 1 in 4 Americans who need diabetes now ration the drug.
Need insulin.
Sorry. 1 in 4 Americans who have diabetes and use insulin ration the drug because they can't afford the dose they need. I know this sad experience from my father-in-law, who, again, passed away of diabetes. According to the American Diabetes Association, for millions of Americans living with diabetes, including people living with type 1 diabetes, insulin is life-saving. You can't live without it. So this is a life and death issue. It's a simple issue. Numerous patient groups have prioritized this as important. Are we going to win this fight? I believe we will, and it's certainly worth the shot.
Yeah, so let me know your thoughts. Insulin is just one of the things in this bill, one of the provisions. Obviously, lowering the cost of prescription drugs is just one of the things in this bill as well. It doesn't cover just insulin as well. It covers lowering the cost of all prescriptions, or I can't say all because it's most. So we'll have to see how the language is and what the Senate passes, because remember, the Senate could change this significantly, and that's why Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is fighting for this to stay in the package as well. But the preliminary language, without having it in front of me and reading it through you and leading the legal jargon, is it would lower the cost of prescriptions, not just insulin, and for private insurances and people on Medicare as well. For and I don't have it in front of me. It covers non-complex drugs, which is trying to explain this without legal jargon and everything in front of me. It covers not new to the market prescriptions. So something like insulin is not new to the market. It's been out for many, many years. It's not on patent. Okay. So if a brand new prescription has just come out, if it just hit the market 1 or 2 years ago, they're not going to be able to lower the cost of that. Okay. And then they have things that are called so I believe that it's 7 years on that, and I'll have to double check on that. The specifics on this are not super important right now because the Senate could change this. Okay, once they pass the bill, we'll be able to get more into details on this. But just know that if your prescription has been out for a long time, the type of medication you take, that they're likely going to lower the cost of it. I believe it's 7 years. Okay, if the prescription's been out for 7 years right now, then the cost of it can go down, like insulin. He mentions the cost of insulin will likely go from $600 per month to $35. So very significant cost there. That's just one of the things in this package to reduce costs for tens of millions of Americans. Okay. So let's go with the next clue to what's in the box here. Remember, I'm giving away up to $1,000 or $1,000 in total here. So if you can guess what's in that box, I'm giving away $100 to 10 people in total before Thanksgiving here. And we're doing it again in December. Okay. If you can guess what's in that box correctly, you'll be entered into the pool of people who have guessed correctly. And from there, we will have randomly picked 10 winners. Randomly is just the best way to do it. I have a little program that randomly picks people just to make it fair for everybody. Okay. All you got to do to guess is just comment down below. And after we do all the 10 clues, which we're getting close here, I'm going to open the box, show you what's in the box, and I'll reread you all the 10 clues. If you want to go see any past clues, just go watch the past videos here. Just each video before this has the previous clues. You can just go watch them if you want. So yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything. So again, just to guess, all you got to do is comment down below. So we are on clue number 9. The clues are getting really good here now at this point. Okay. Clue number 9 is this item is not silver, but ... Okay. This item is not silver, but ... Okay. Think you know what it is? Comment down below. One more time. This item is not silver, but ... Okay, that is clue number 9. There'll be one more clue after this in the next video. If you think you know what it is, comment down below. And you could win money directly from me. It's just kind of our way of giving back for the holidays to our viewers. Again, we're going to be doing this again in December with our What's in the Box contest. If you know, we've done this before as well. So just kind of our way of giving back. And this video is how there's 2 brand new bill proposals to raise the Social Security benefits by several $100s per month, in addition to the 5.9% cost of living adjustment. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.